What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and today we'll be talking about Ethereum, ETH, USD. It is the 10th day of June, and here we are sitting at about $1,660 with roughly 10 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. Let's get into it, okay? Let's talk about this price action here. Um, Looking at things for Ethereum, it does seem as though we've broken out of our accumulation range, or not accumulation, I'm sorry, consolidation range. We've broken out of this consolidation and seen a move down that is very similar in nature to what we saw back here at the end of 2025, beginning of 2026. Um, a little bit less aggressive. This move was far more aggressive, but still very similar in size overall. Very similar to this move. Even we've seen this kind of percentage drop happen a few times since the bear market began, and it's quite possible that we are at the low of this move. It is possible as well that we do move a little bit lower, and over the coming days, maybe even over the coming weeks, I ask you to keep an open mind. It's fine if we do go a little bit lower. However, whether this is the low or whether a little bit lower is the low, I would assume that we are near the low ends of this range. Just like, right here, this day, if you called for that to be the low, it wasn't the low, this was the low instead. We were very near the low the day before, but you weren't wrong, right? And over the weeks to come, you kind of staged your low area, and then you started to move up, and then you started to move up, right? I would assume it's the same kind of idea here. Um, the time before this here, whenever we moved down and we found a low, every low afterwards was a higher low until we broke out of the range. Same thing here. When we found the low, every low afterwards was a higher low before breaking out of the range. That doesn't mean that it has to be the same here. We could see a lower low and still move up higher afterwards, but again, more or less, I think we are in that range, that sufficient range to expect a low area in the price. From a low to a high here of our last consolidation phase, we've bounced right off the 1414, come back up to this level here. Maybe we go down to the 1272. Maybe we go a little bit lower down to the golden ratio, 1400. I doubt we get below 1400. We're at 1657 now, but it is something to keep an open mind to. As we recover, I would suspect that we move back up to the 886, 786 area, potentially as high as the golden ratio. So Ethereum right now is in a recovery phase. I don't think that the recovery is going to be like this. I shouldn't say it's in a recovery phase yet, but we're setting up for a recovery phase, right? It's not going to be something that just moves directly up here and then we start to move down again. It's likely going to be something that is boring, methodical. It kind of moves sideways. We have a peak of excitement, just like we did before, and then we begin to drop. Then we see our bear market finale, wherever that might take us, probably below $1,400, or at least there if I had to guess. That's kind of the overall state of my thoughts with Ethereum. Let's look at the short-term stuff, and then we'll zoom back out and talk about this. Okay, 1 hour time frame here. The stock market just opened up about 23 minutes ago, the U.S. stock market. So we're seeing a little bit of a pump based on that. What's the stock market doing right now? SPX. We saw a little bit of a surge in Bitcoin as well. I made a video recently, and I said if we get above this, that we might be absolved of going lower, but then I was looking at this. These are prior areas of support here, and it looks like we're rejecting it. If we get above these, then I would say we're absolved of going lower, but if we reject this area from here, we probably do go lower. But if we can get above there, then that's a sufficient low, and Bitcoin probably moves up alongside of Ethereum as well. Ethereum 1 hour time frame stock market. That's what we're looking at. The stock market today is down. You gapped down. You're up since the opening of the day, but you gapped down. You kind of filled that gap. You look like you want to sell off and move lower. Ethereum 1 hour time frame. Lower lows here, lower highs here. Breaking out of that trend. That's bullish. Even though that's bullish, you can come back down and still continue to move up. So from here, it is completely possible that we see Ethereum move back down to this area. It could even go lower, somewhere in this area, and then you start to recover. But recovery is coming. We're definitely looking good on the 1 hour RSI there. The stochastics look bullish for the time being. And come on now. The MACD just flipped green. In itself, the MACD is actually kind of bearish, but you've been red for so long that it is, I think, time to get some green, and that might be what we're seeing here. It might be getting some green, so that's nice. I suspect, I actually am starting to suspect that this could be the low, low here, relative low here. We are on the 1 hour time frame, nothing too significant. Finding support here at prior points of resistance. We look at this low, put it at that high, right at the 0.5. Ooh, you're rejecting the 236. Depending on what you do from here, I mean, if you can't get above the 236 and you do come back down to about, let's say 1630 or lower, I would assume that we are working our way down to the golden ratio, at least there, if not lower in time. But if you can get above $1,667, if you can close above there on any given hour or 4 hour basis, I would think that this is a higher low from which you're finding support at prior resistance, prior support. This is a higher low, and you'll likely continue to move higher. 4 hour time frame. The RSI overall is very bearish. Very bearish. Yes, you've broken out of this little trend here, moving up, but you found resistance in this area last time, the time before, the time before. You've consistently been getting oversold, consistently not been getting overbought. It's hard to get excited right here. The 1 hour was a little bit more exciting, but honestly, you have 2 hours left in this 4 hour candle. A lot can happen, guys. This might just be a little bit of excitement to start the day. If Bitcoin sells off from here, if it rejects, I think Ethereum goes with it. And again, even if this isn't the low, you're still in this low staging area, but you can see lower lows. We could go as low as like $1,400. And, it's not a dramatic drop. It's still like 14% though, 15% for Ethereum. So it's quite possible that you do. It's something to consider, okay? If you're getting excited here that we're going to move up and then you sit through a 15-14% drop, that can be discouraging emotionally. So don't set yourself up for discouraging emotions. We look at this on the 4 hour. The stochastics are bouncing off the oversold area. MACD's building some bullish momentum. You built so much bullish momentum, you didn't really do much with it. This does look bullish here. I will say this does look bullish here. The RSI is shaping up a little bit better than it has, and the stochastics are shaping up too. It just depends on how we close this 4 hour time frame, and I think it depends on what Bitcoin does too. If Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a 4 hour time frame as well. It's got this 2 hours left here. If we come back and we leave a pretty big wick here, we close down like that, we have a wick like this, that could be a signal that we're going lower. And I would think if Bitcoin goes lower, Ethereum would go with it. Daily time frame here. Rejecting the oversold zone on the RSI is not a good thing. 10 hours left in the day. You're pointed up now, right here. But if you close red, you'll be pointed down. This rejection off the oversold zone will be serious. And rejections off the oversold zone typically do mean lower lows. Stochastics are ugly. The MACD is ugly. On the bright side, you've been red for quite some time on the daily MACD, so there's going to be some green coming your way. It doesn't have to happen here. Again, you're in that low area. You can go lower still, but the amount you go lower probably won't be that much from this low. If at all. You might not go lower. I'm not if we go lower, if we see the price go lower, I'm not going to say, haha, I told you, I was right. I'm not calling for the price to go lower. I'm more just very accepting of it as a possibility. Right now, I'm actually taking the stance that this is the low. I am, however, calling for prices that are a little bit lower than where we are now. I think that we will move down. Just looking at the current environment and the current indications, but I'm more than happy to be wrong. Prove me wrong. Close above 1667, right? That's all you got to do. Close above there. Ideally, on the daily time frame, if you can close above 1692, that would be pretty validating to the idea of this being the low. But again, overall, I suspect that we'll see some retracement up to this $2,000 level, something like that, 2,100. Maybe we only get as high as 1,900, something like that. And I don't think that it happens tomorrow. I don't think that it happens next week. I think that it'll just be a slow, kind of boring process where at times we're excited, at times we're depressed. At times we're excited, at times we're depressed. What's going on? Ethereum, you're drunk. At times we're depressed. And then we're excited, peak excitement. That's whenever we will start to break down and finish off this bear market. And that could be probably, a process, a work in process until July is over, late July, or maybe even August. So when we're talking about this price area, it's probably not tomorrow. And let's say it is. Let's say it happens quicker than I expect it to. Let's say it happens by the end of this month of June. I would still suspect that we kind of whittle our way down. It's not going to be an immediate drop from there. Even if it's quick on the way up, it won't be a quick way on the way down. Once we break out, once we finally get our breakout on, the pace will definitely pick up. But I think that'll be again later in July, if not sometime in August. I have nothing else to say. I've said it all. So with that, I leave you. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.